Modes can be a bit of a mystery for many songwriters and instrumentalists. I find that I can sometimes grasp what they are, but then get confused when I try to apply them to a song. So I decided to revisit modes to get a clearer picture of this type of scale and their significance for music making. A starting place is to look at the differences between tonal and modal music. We can think of tonal music as being vertical, organized around a chord progression, which often emphasizes the dominant and tonic. While modal music is more horizontal, it tends to use fewer chords and has a less defined melodic development. In tonal music, chords have a particular harmonic function, which underlie the development of a melodic idea. By contrast, there is generally less movement in modal music because the chords used are treated equally, producing a more subtle mood or floating sense to the music. In modal jazz, a particular type of modal music, a chord can last for 8 bars or more, allowing musicians more space for improvisation. Modal jazz often borrows chords from parallel keys or other modes to add harmonic color and variety. Both tonal and modal music have a tonal center, but the way it functions is different between the two. In tonal music, the tonal center is the home, or what feels like the natural resting place for a melody. It's often the first note, but not always. Modal music also has a tonal center, that is, root note, but as the chords don't have a particular function, they don't have to resolve to the tonic or another chord. Did you know that we're related? Of course, tonal music and modal music are not completely different animals. In fact, 2 of the modes we're familiar with today are the same as 2 of our diatonic scales. The Ionian mode is identical to the major scale, and the Aeolian mode is the natural minor scale. 2 of the orders of ancient Greek architecture, Ionic and Doric, are related to the names of the Ionian and Dorian music modes. The simplest way of exploring modes is playing a sequence of white keys on a piano if we're using the modes of C major. For example, starting on D for Dorian, but modes follow a fixed set of intervals and can start on any note. We can look at modes in relation to their parallel major or natural minor scale, or by the pattern of whole and half steps. What a difference a half step can make! As we head down the list of modes, the series of tones and semitones shifts to the left, and we see what a difference that a semitone can make to the melodic character of the scale. For example, the mixolydian adds a bluesy feel to the major scale by flattening the 7th. And notice how close the interval pattern of the brightest mode, Lydian, is to the darkest mode, Locrian. The similarity is highlighted by the fact that both Lydian and Locrian are the only modes that contain a tritone above the tonic. When arranged from brightest to darkest, the modes are Lydian, Ionian, Mixolydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian, and Locrian. Songs that use modes. Dorian is one of the most popular modes used in contemporary pop and rock music. For example, The Doors' Riders on the Storm is in E Dorian, and Chris Isaak's Wicked Game is in B Dorian. Listen to how the melody in Scarborough Fair, E Dorian, hovers around the natural 6th, B, giving an open, dreamy character. Another popular mode is Lydian, with its raised 4th, which gives a bright but slightly mysterious character. The Simpsons theme is an often cited example. Also listen to Joe Satriani's Flying in a Blue Dream in C Lydian, and how the melody repeatedly hits the F sharp. How to make your song sound modal? Emphasize the mode degrees that are characteristic of the mode, different to the notes in its parallel scale. Look at differences in the chord progressions of the mode, as the alterations will affect a number of chords in your scale. For example, Dorian has a major 4 compared to its parallel natural minor scale, which has a minor 4. Keep emphasizing the tonic pitch, as some modes want to gravitate towards the relative major. For example, in D Dorian, you might want to avoid G major, as it draws you back to a C major tonal center. You don't need to stay within one mode for the entire song. You can add interest in a section of the song by incorporating borrowed chords from a parallel key or a different mode, a technique called modal mixture or modal interchange. In popular music, chords are often borrowed from the modes of Mixolydian, Dorian, and Lydian.